and I was studying physical geography, but with specialization in glaciology. So this was like really related to my master program. Yeah, I was visiting my host university was University of Montreal, and the duration was November to January, end of January, so 2.5 months. So we had a lot of objectives and tasks during my internship. And the first one was to understand, we were trying to understand how the solid particles are behaving during the thawing process. And based on this movement of particles, we were trying to create a model, which were later used for the permafrost. So for the model development, we were focusing to use different particle sizes, different heights of column, and different perimeter. We can see on the left picture the prepared frozen samples. So they are like different heights, different perimeters. And once it was fully frozen, then we took it out from the form, placed it on the table, and we were monitoring the thawing process of the column. Here we can see like briefly what we were doing. Like on the left side, we have the picture of the fully frozen column. Then it was like slowly melting, and we were recording how it is behaving. And every 3, 4, or 5 minutes, we were making a picture. So this is the model we made, and it shows the evolution of the thawing of the column, one of the columns. So basically, we can see the time and how the height of the column was decreasing, and the particles were slowly moving on the bottom. So this is what we basically did with the images. We were trying to create this model and see how is it working. So this was the first objective. The second objective was to prepare the mass movement cell. We can see it on the picture how it looked like. It was like big box filled with fully saturated sand. So we were trying to, at the beginning, we were trying to calibrate all the equipment we had, and then we were trying to model these active layer detachment slides by manipulating the temperature and moisture within the permafrost. And also we were trying to change the settings by tilting the whole mass movement cell, or we were trying to manipulate the insulation. We can see like the insulation around the cell was like quite enough, but at the top of the cell we didn't put any insulation. In natural conditions usually there should be insulation, but for our experiment we didn't use any insulation on the top. And also we were trying to use external heating so we could see how the process are if it will manipulate, if it will change the detachment slides movement. And the most important of the whole process was a simulation of the rain. So basically we were pouring the water on the surface, and we were observing how the water is changing the compactability, the compactness of the permafrost, and if there can be observed some potential slides. And also the box had a back door which could be open, and we could see if there is a slide. So the the upper surface layer would be like removed to the bucket. So we were also trying to test this, but unfortunately, this was at the end of January actually. So I didn't have much experiences and the results with this. We just started this process, but this was like the core of the internship. And the third objective was to actually measure the movement of the surface. So if the surface was like changing or there were like small movements, we could actually see and measure how much and where exactly was it happening. So we had like very precise 3D scanner, which we were able to like see what's going on the surface. So we had the reference image at the beginning, and then the image after the experiment, and we could compare it and measure. So after the internship, after these 2.5 months, we successfully collected a lot of data related to permafrost, thawing, columns, temperature, moisture, a lot of data, and we tested various settings and conditions. Also, like this, because the whole box was able to, we could like move it, tilt it, we could change like many different parameters. So we tried multiple conditions and we were changing the parameters. So we had a lot of data related to different parameters. Also, we created this model, which were later used for this permafrost big box. And also, we were analyzing the behavior of the permafrost under extreme conditions. We were trying extreme low temperatures, extreme high temperatures, and we were observing how the permafrost is behaving. But my role was, because I was the first intern working on this project, so my role was mainly calibrations of the equipment, preparation of the samples. We were experimenting with different settings. Also at the beginning, we were improving the whole big box. So we were trying to find the best conditions, how to make the experiments working. So this was my role. So what actually has been learned at the end was that we understood how the permafrost is behaving during the simulations. I got introduction and trainings in the lab because I was working with a lot of sensors, a lot of equipment. So it was really useful to get training to how to operate this all the stuff we had. Yeah, we collected a lot of data. We were working with this image processing, which consumed a lot of time. This was really useful. And then we also I improved my programming skills and modeling. This was used for the model. We did it in Python, so this was also really important. And the most important was the communication and cooperation with colleagues, because I was not the only one intern working there, so there were like more people. And it was very important to know how to transfer the knowledge also for the interns coming after me. And for that reason, we had something called like lab diary. So at the beginning, we started to record everything because we were dealing with a lot of failed experiments. So we wanted to avoid this failed experiments and errors in the future. So everything was like precisely recorded and saved for later. So if someone is coming after me, they will know what to do. There were some things which could be improved for the future, and the main is that the cooperation in the lab, because the lab itself was quite small, and sometimes there were a lot of projects happening at the same time, and also like this cold room we were working in required like different settings for different projects. So sometimes we needed like, let's say like minus 30 degrees temperature, and another project requires minus 5 degrees. So it was like really difficult to work like together between different projects. And also like this big box was quite heavy to operate, and also like it requires some space, and also like there were other projects with even like bigger boxes, so it was also like difficult to keep it next to each other. And also like there were many different students, visiting researchers, PhD, master students, and sometimes would be good to like cooperate together, because like mostly we were like working separately, but it would be nice to like have some kind of cooperation. We had some, but this is something what can be like improved, the cooperation, and like we can learn from each other. And also like there were a lot of equipment we wanted to use, but because the lab was not so big, and it was sometimes very difficult to use the lab because it was so overcrowded. Another important thing was that we didn't have actually access to the local network, because me and my supervisor, we were both like visiting, and we didn't have access. So that means we couldn't like share the data. So we were storing it in our like personal computers, which is not really effective. So it was like kind of like difficult to and we collected a lot of like huge data, so it was kind of problematic to share it between us, and also like share it for the like future interns. So this was kind of limiting our work. Yeah, we didn't have the permissions. There was the problem with data storage. We didn't have there was only one computer which was like really outdated, so it was also like difficult to work with that. So we were using our personal computers, and yeah, like from the security reasons, it's not like really good. So this could be like this could be improved in the future. And yeah, like I was really lucky that I got this like longer internship experience. So I was able to like do a lot of tasks, a lot of experiments, and especially these permafrost experiments takes a long time to like see the changes and how is it behaving. So yeah, if the internship is longer, then like it's better for the intern and also like for the university. If it's like too short, then like it's very limiting. Not much, not many outcomes can be achieved. So this is like, but it was like really amazing experience for me. So I did a lot of during these 2.5 months. So it was really good.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you.
Nice. Thanks so much, Martin. I guess I mean, the floor is open if anyone has questions for you, a couple of questions. I would say we do have time for a couple of questions either now or at the end of this seminar. And maybe I'll start with a quick one. You had this significant, relevant, hands-on experience, and you came from a background in physical geography.
Yes.
Did you feel like you had the relevant, the proper background in terms of lab experience, modeling, programming, or you had to learn lots of stuff during your internship, right?
I did. I learned a lot of during my like master program, but it was all only like theoretical. That's why like this was like completely different. Like I got a lot of practical information. Like I could properly see how is it the permafrost behaving, not only in natural conditions but also in these simulated settings. So it was like really new experience for me.
Mm. And if you had like a key message for some of the students that are here with us that are new to the program, I guess you would. What would be your kind of one or two most important recommendations, like the duration of the internships, or try to find a relevant lab, or what would you be your basic recommendations?
Mm, mm, trying to find something what is really like interested in, because I cannot imagine that I would be working in this if I'm not really like permafrost or modeling or programming. It would be like really like painful, and like it would the whole experience would be like terrible. So it should be reasonable to learn, like know something before going there and know what to expect, and based on that like choose the project which is like really close to personal research interest and like this kind of. So
Anyone? Yeah, cool. So I guess you also enjoy the what was 2.5 months, is that right? Yeah,
Yes.
it was like you have time to learn stuff and do stuff as well, right? It's
Yeah,
better
exactly.
to have a.
Yeah, and my initial like duration was only like 5 weeks, I think. But during
Okay.
these initial 5 weeks, we didn't achieve anything. It was like basically like playing with the box and trying to find like the correct parameters
Yeah.
for the experiment. So these 5 weeks, it was like really, in terms of this permafrost, really like short period. That's why like these 2.5 months was enough to achieve some results.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone has a question or questions for Martin right now? Anyone like alumni or prospective students or internees? Or you can keep your question for a bit later, because we could, what time is it? Yeah, we could move on with our next presenter. Emmy, are you still there? Yes, you are, I guess. Salut, Emmy. So I am totally right now in conflict of interests because I was Emmy's supervisor last year. So I will just give the floor to her, not mentioning anything right now. Up to you, Emmy.
I'm Emmy, and I start my master degree in hydrology and environmental quality this year in University of Grenoble in France. Yeah, so I'm going to tell you about my internship I did last year at Sherbrooke University in Canada. During this internship, I didn't really have a definite objective. I touched a bit of everything. So from October to November, I had the chance to take part in a short but intense internship with Fred within the GRIMP team. So the GRIMP team is like it's mean, if I don't say the mistake, interdisciplinary research group on polar environments. And in this group, I met Lucille Gosin-Wextin. So she introduced me to a research topic, the recent drying up of the lake in the Hudson Bay lowlands and its impact on territorial ecosystem. So the study area is near to Churchill, and I didn't study the 6 lakes marked in the maps. I just study Lake WAPS 32, 34, and 12. So yeah. So after doing some background research to better understand the topic, I began working in the lab on the sediment core collecting in 2023. So I use the loss on emission method, which involve the heating sample to different temperature to measure their organic matter and carbonate contents. So after analyzing all the sediments, we can draw the graph, and that show the sediments are very rich, more than 19% organic matter. So it's mean the lake formed recently and in a peat-rich environment. Yeah, and I also identify and analyzing a diatom in Lake WAMP 34. Diatom is a microscopic algae, and this part was a meticulous process and that required patience, but he was but discovering the incredible diversity of the microfossil was fascinating, and discussing my observation with Lucille helped me better to understand how diatom can serve as a paleoenvironmental indicator. So it was pretty cool. And I also in the same I didn't make this beautiful graph, so I can't really explain them in the detail, but we can see a strong dominance of autotrophic benthic species. So it means the lake is shallow and nutrient poor. And in my internship, at the same time, I also worked with a geographic information system. So we use the drone data for creating the detailed maps of the study area for showing the seasonal change in the water body and vegetation across the regions. And yeah, that's it what I do during my internship. So yes, it was an amazing experience, both of academically and personally. I met a wonderful and welcoming people with whom I still keep in touch, so it's really nice. So yeah, I truly recommend the PermaIntern program for any student who want to broaden their skill and make inspiring researcher and discover new scientific horizons. Yeah.
Thanks. Yep, I see that. Yeah, you had quite the research introduction in a diverse way. With in fact, you were just as a further information, you were co-supervised by a PhD student who is right now writing her thesis. So it was great to see the interactions between the other students from the lab and Emmy coming in with a different background and discovering the lab part that you showed, loss and ignition, what we call the dirty lab part, and also the microscopic part. Lots of hours looking at this microscope looking at those beautiful diatoms, and then also as well using a GIS system. So you had quite the, I would say, a broad introduction into the kind of research we are doing in our lab. I would maybe ask the same kind of question. Did you feel when you came here with your you had a background in undergrad in from Toulouse? Did you feel like you had the relevant experience, or you had to learn lots of stuff right arriving here? Did you feel like you were ready enough, or it could be improved?
Of course, I can improve. I think I discover new stuff like diatoms I never studied before I come in Sherbrooke. And for for the geographic information system, I just like during my license degree, I just use QGIS. So work with another platform. It was pretty cool, but yeah, I need to practice more.
And same, would you I mean, your internship was 2 months. Would you recommend to have at least, like, as Martin, like 10-ish weeks, or enough time to do long-term work, or?
Yeah, for me, I just stay like 1 month and 2 weeks, something like this. And for me, it's maybe a little bit too short for really, I don't know how can I say, but yeah, it's a little bit too short for really enter on the topic.
It looks, I mean, it's useful when we have feedbacks from you guys, the internees, because early next year we're gonna be in our final kind of months for the program, and we'll have to think about how to improve that kind of program. And I think that the internship duration might be on the list of the things that we could improve in the future, to have at least, like, I don't know, at least 10 to 12 weeks of internships. Yes, Ivor?
Yeah, we've had the same discussion for this internship program that I'm leading, about kind of what's the optimal duration of an internship, because there is a cost for every week. There is a cost of an internship when we pay for accommodation, and all parts of an internship has a cost. So initially, this GeoIntern International that I've linked in the chat was aiming for 10 weeks of internships. They would have a duration of 10 weeks. As cost level has substantially increased since we got funding for this project, we are now down to 6-week duration to cover all the internships that we promised to do within this program. But one learning that we've made throughout some of the last internships that we've performed is that you can do quite a substantial amount beforehand, before the students go and arrive for their internship, that they have some tasks, they have some pre-work, things that they can kind of read up on before they go to the internship, so they come better prepared. We have 3 students from South Africa coming now to Norway, and they do quite a substantial part of this learning. They get softwares, they get examples, they get data, they get articles before they come. So they are kind of on a higher level of what they will be working with during their internship. So they are kind of more ready, and they need to do less of the pre-work during their internship, which could maybe be a good advice for future internships.
Yeah, I think it's a cool idea.
I agree with Emmy that the longer the internship is, and Martin also, the longer the internship, the more learning you can generate. But there is kind of a cost-benefit game you need to rule out here, because they have a cost.
Interesting comment, Ivor. Yeah, we have to strike a balance between having long enough internship and of course having enough funding to pay for that, of course. We were lucky enough for the SEDNA and the PermaIntern program to pay at least for travel costs. Of course, it's not enough to pay for scholarships, but sometimes students could apply for some scholarship at their home institution or via their government or agencies, that kind of thing. So we have to be creative, of course. But yeah, strike a balance between the optimal duration and the available funding, the budget.
Yeah,
always the budget.
And always then emphasize what can we do to maximize the learning outcomes for the students while they are in the internship, because several of these parameters have now been pinpointed by Emmy and Martin. That what did we learn? What did we bring home from the internship? Yeah, like Emmy says, the contacts, the insight to the research environment where she was is important for her when she returns to her home institution, building these connections, building the knowledge, learning to work with this kind of software, learning to work with science in this manner. Everything of this is kind of something that we need to put into system in a way, because this is the kind of the overarching things when generating internship programs is what can we actually learn from doing internship? What can students learn in addition to what they learn at their home institution, right? Because bringing on international internship brings on some add-ons to deeper learning. And I think that's important to kind of investigate what can we do to maximize the learning outcomes of international internships. That's been a part of the discussion within this PermaIntern group.
And I would say apparently the networking activities might have been quite important for. I saw that with Emmy, with our group here, developing skills. That's one thing, and developing like personal interactions with students of different levels. I think it was also pretty interesting for them. I see that Frédéric, you have a question or a comment?
Yeah, well, thank you, Martin and Emmy, for your presentations and your feedback. I just had a question because one of my feedback when I presented as well as an alumni was how heavy was the paperwork for you to be able to do this internship? Because for me, that was quite heavy, but I got Hannah Christensen, my supervisor, facilitate this process and stuff. And yeah, I just wanted to know, like, I already mentioned it a little bit, but I just wanted to know how was it? And I guess I will start with Emmy, because did you do your master's degree in Grenoble? Like, is it from Grenoble or I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I just started my master's degree this year in Grenoble.
But you did, so the internship was not with Grenoble then?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so I get, because I also did my internship with Grenoble. I'm from France as well, and yeah, it was kind of a pain in the ass to talk with the university. So I don't know if you can just say a couple of things on that. That would be great.
And from at my university, it was like super smooth. I didn't have any issues with like this paperwork. Everything was, I don't know, everything worked well, and we had like really good coordinator who is like really facilitating everything, and also like the professor who was recommending me this internship, he was also very helpful. So from my side, there was like, I don't know, they consider it like is like super like beneficial for every student. So instead of like putting too much heavy administrative stuff, they try to like make it easy for you. So at my university was really good.
That's great. Yeah, because it's very important. I think like for students, you can fear that having a lot of paperwork to prepare, and you have to get ready for so much thing to prepare your internship that you don't want to add this on top. So it's great if for you of those, that was very smooth. Yeah. What about in France?
Well, Emmy, you were, I think, between when you came here in Sherbrooke, you were between your undergrads in Toulouse and your master's that is just starting right now, right?
Yeah, it's like after my license degree, I made the break. So it was this internship was optional, so it was pretty easy to make my internship. Yeah.
So we do have sometimes help at the administration. Usually it's not that bad, but maybe you were just at the start. Maybe Frédéric, you were just at the start of the program, and we were not that trained on yet. And now we are more efficient in our paperwork, probably.
I can see that, and it's great. It's great to see that for sure.
Yeah. I mean, right now, for if there are some students who are kind of interested in trying to have an internship, we try to streamline the process, meaning that for the SEDNA part, we can pay, as I said, for travel costs like plane tickets and accommodation. And the way we do that is that the student will pay in advance, and then with the invoices we reimburse afterwards. And I hope you let me know, Martin and Amy, but you might have been reimbursed in a reasonable way or a length. It didn't take forever, right?
In my case, I was waiting a couple of months, but it was okay. Like, okay. I was.
Could be better.
I was believing, yes.
Okay.
But I mean, from my perspective, the money it wasn't like some issue. Like for me, it was like really great that having this kind of experience. So even if like I'm not getting any money back, it would be still great for me.
Of the group, I would say big thanks to Martin and Emmy for presenting their experience. Again, I took some notes. It's useful, and we will integrate your feedbacks in our reflection and our final report and our ideas for future iterations of this program. Bye-bye, everyone. Salut tout le monde.
Salut Fred, merci.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Merci,
Thanks
salut.
for being there. Yep. Okay.